Hello out there in listener land. This is Curt Mercadante, and this is the Freedom Club podcast. How y'all doing today? Hope you are well. Thank you so much for joining us. As I've mentioned before, we continue to grow in terms of listeners around the globe, month after month after month, and it's all because of you. So if you're a longtime listener, thank you. If you are a brand new listener, thank you. If you like what you hear today, and this is your first podcast, if you like what you hear today and you've been listening for a while, I ask you for a few things. One, please head to iTunes, wherever you're listening to this, leave a positive rating and review. That helps us continue to grow. You know, this podcast is free. I think you'll find we provide a ton of value here. And all I ask is if you can leave us a positive rating and review. It means the world to me, but it also will mean the world to someone else who, because of your efforts, your simple efforts, discovers this podcast, gets value, and we hope to help them live a life of freedom and fulfillment as well. The other thing I'll ask is this. If you are someone who lacks the freedom and fulfillment in your life that you desire and deserve, and you listen to this podcast episode after episode, and you nod your head and said, he's completely right, yet you still remain stuck in a status quo. You remain stuck in that comfort zone. Yes, maybe it's a comfort zone of misery. Then I'm going to ask you to do something today. Commit today to taking action, right? Because simply nodding your head and listening to this podcast and doing nothing does nothing for you. Making a positive change takes massive action. And if you're not used to taking any action is a massive action. So I'm going to urge you today, I'm going to challenge you today. Get off the proverbial couch. Start making change. Stop being a victim. Stop letting life happen to you and start imposing your will on life, because that is the only fucking way you are going to make a positive change in your life. Do I get passionate? Hell yes, I get passionate, because you know what? I get comments from people every single day who I know have the potential to live an incredible lifestyle. But you know what? They are stuck. They're stuck behind fear. They're stuck behind limiting beliefs. They're stuck behind a fear of some hard work and having some short-term pain for long-term benefit, for a long-term life of freedom and fulfillment. It's that scarcity mindset holding you back, where you can't see more than a few feet away from the rut in which you're currently stuck. You are destined for great things. I don't care who you are. And if you regularly listen to this podcast, you've heard me interview people who have overcome some incredible adversity in their lives. People like Jessica Cox, born without arms, she's flying airplanes. People like Elaine Kapatashungo, born into the Rwandan Civil War. Someone like Marcus Aurelius Anderson, who broke his back, was paralyzed for a full year. And I don't say this to make you feel bad. I say it to show you an example that people have been dealt shit and they've created lives of freedom and fulfillment out of that. So I know you can. I have faith in you. You need faith in yourself. But you've got to decide. You've got to get up off the proverbial couch. You've got to commit. You've got to act. So that's what I ask you to do today. Now, in today's episode, I answer a question from Zachary. He's a member of the Freedom Club community. Again, if you are not a member of the Freedom Club community, go to Facebook right now, search Freedom Club Community. You'll find it, click on it, answer a few questions. You'll be in the community, and you can participate in my live streams, many of which you hear on the podcast, but I live stream episodes like today. But I also live stream my interviews with our incredible guests. So go join the Freedom Club community. Zachary asked this question. Curt, what is the biggest, most ultimate goal that you have? And so in today's episode, I answer that question. And of course, I'm going to tie it back to the second pillar of the freedom lifestyle, which is vision, creating that vision for your life. Because if you are merely bouncing from objective to objective, job to job without a clear vision, you are going to hit a wall. There is going to come a day when you realize you've been bouncing around like a pinball and you don't have a clearly defined destination of where you want to go. And that's when you find yourself being lost. That's when you find that you are not truly free. You have become a victim of circumstance, victim of those things bouncing you. I don't even know what you call them in a pinball machine, bouncing you back and forth rather than being in control and knowing where you want to head. So I discuss that and more on today's episode of the Freedom Club Podcast.
Welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast, where we strive to pull you out of your life of quiet desperation, out of your comfort zone of misery, and propel you into a life of freedom and fulfillment. And now, here's your host for this journey, international speaker and coach, and serial entrepreneur, Curt Mercadante.
So Zachary asks, what is the biggest, most ultimate goal that you have? Thanks, Zachary, for your question. So when we talk about the biggest ultimate goal that we have, I'm going to go back to the second pillar of the freedom lifestyle. There's 5 pillars: superpowers, vision, alignment, outcomes, and flow. So when you talk about that ultimate goal, let's talk about vision. Most people, the great majority of people, do not have a clearly stated vision for their life. Now, some people think they do because so many people bounce through life like a pinball, going from objective to objective and tactic to tactic. You know, when you're in your 20s, you think your vision is making partner and making $100,000 a year. And in your 30s, it's something else. And then somewhere you hit a wall and you're like, wow, I've been going from objective to objective. I've been going from location to location on the map, but where the hell am I headed? What's that end destination? What's that ultimate goal that Zachary talks about? That, my friends, is your vision statement. It is so important to have a vision statement in your life. That end destination, it's what holds all your objectives together. It allows you to reverse engineer it and define those outcomes every year, every month, every week, every day. So you reverse engineer that ultimate goal so that every day you know, what are the 3 outcomes I need to achieve today to move myself today toward my vision? So when you get knocked down, when you have a shitty day, when you get sick, when people die, whatever it is, hell, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you know exactly where you're going, and you start walking toward that vision again. My vision statement is to save the world by helping individuals fight for lives of freedom and fulfillment. And everything I do every day, I weigh against that. My vision paired with the outcomes that I reverse engineer allow me to say no to a lot of things. I get a lot of requests for meetings for this and that. And if it doesn't fit and move me toward my vision, I can say no. I know a lot of us, and a lot of you listening, watching right now, have trouble saying no. The ability to say no is one of the most important things, important skills you can learn in your life, because you say no to the shit, you say no to the mediocrity, you say no to the things that don't move you toward your vision. So you can say yes to the things that do. You say yes to the things that are great. But you can't do that unless you have a vision for your life, that ultimate goal where you want to head. And I have a lot of people, some people I know are maybe watching right now, and they want to hop in my coaching course and they say, well, I have a lot of thinking to do before I do that because I don't know where I want to head. And I say, well, that's the exact point of my coaching course. There's some of you who say, well, if I can't sit and think about it and think about my life vision and where I want to head in the next 5 minutes, well, Curt's not going to help me. Well, Curt's not going to help you. But the system and the process I put in place, the 5 pillars of the freedom lifestyle, put you into that mindset, put you into that system, give you the tools to help figure it out. So Zachary, my ultimate goal is to help individuals. When I say individuals, me, every day I audit my day to make sure I'm living with the maximum amount of freedom and fulfillment I desire. My kids, the same thing. We build their lives around this. My wife, same thing. You all, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're watching this live stream, if you're a member of the Freedom Club community, if you're in one of my coaching programs, if you're going to attend my retreat later this year, if you have bought tickets to any of my events, if you're attending the Freedom Club Festival here in Charleston in November, if you buy my book that's coming out in July, all of that is moving me toward my vision every single day. And I audit every single day. There's some days where at the end of the day, it's like, man, what did I do? I did way too much that didn't move me toward my vision. And you know what I do? The next week, I contract my calendar. I contract my schedule. I put in gatekeepers to make sure that I'm focused on my key outcomes every day. And I'm not spending my day on bullshit inputs that don't move me toward that outcome for the day, which is moving me toward my outcomes for the week, the month, the year, and then toward my vision. So thanks, Zachary. for your question.